thought it was time for a spinning update. So I've been doing lots of little bits and pieces recently, so I thought I would just show you what I've got and then maybe show you a little bit of my spinning setup if I have time at the end. So you were aware of the Jacob braid, and I've just realised that I haven't got it with me, but it's only just over here, so I'll get it. So this was a braid of Jacob fibre. That was a bit of an extreme close-up, wasn't it? That my friend Adriana had sent to me through Dina's Home of Crafts. There we go. And the blurt is the colourway, I guess. So it's 150 grams, so it's quite a big amount. Anyway, I started and I'd spun one bobbin totally full and it was coming out really, really fine, which is not like me at all. But that's the way it wanted to be, so be it. I had terrible trouble plying it on my Ashford because I wanted it to be, because it was very fine, I decided I was gonna what do you call it, Navajo ply it. And so I needed it to be quite twisty, and it was quite twisty anyway. And I had a lot of trouble with it because it was flying off the bobbin on my Lazy Kate, getting all tangled up. And whenever I stopped, the Ashford wheel went backwards, and it just got in a terrible mess. I still don't know why it does that. Anyway, this was what I made with that first half of the bobbin, because the Ashford's bobbin isn't big enough for more than half a bobbin applied yarn, if you see what I mean. So so that is the first half, and it's quite long repeats, and it's nice. But then I applied the second half of that bobbin on my Majacraft. Now that's my autistic black and white thinking. Not that everybody who's autistic has any of the traits that I have, but I tend to think the Majacraft is for art yarn and the Ashford is for traditional, so I need to do all the traditional on the Ashford, which is of course an Ashford traditional, which makes sense. But hubby said to me, why don't you just ply it on the other wheel? Which made a lot of sense, and that went a lot better. So this is the second half of it. So it's just marginally better plied, basically. It's less random. But the weird thing is, can you see the difference in colour? Yeah, I can see it here. The orange in particular. It's different. So there was something I did to that first skein that kind of muted the colours a little. I don't know whether I maybe washed it in water that was too hot, or maybe it was out on the line drying in the sun for too long. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not hugely bothered by it because I know now I want to weave with this, and I'm not going to be bothered by a slight change in colour on a weave. So that's the first chunk of it done. I've got some more done, some more spun. Let me take you over there and show that. So that's the next lot that's coming along. It is taking a long time. I'm spinning it across the top. So just breaking off a chunk. I'll break off quite a long chunk now to probably just below the blue, but because it's a long staple, it's really hard to be specific about where I break it. And then I'll just try and get all the purple in before I start on the blue. But it is a bit of a hit and miss thing. But again, because I'm not knitting with it, I'm going to weave with it. I'm not so bothered about the colour not being as distinct. So that is the Jacob. Then I've been doing some art yarn. I talked to you about this and may even have shown you this, but it's in my box to show you again. So this was a ball of yarn that I had already spun and plied, but I didn't like it, and it was poorly plied, and it was just a bit meh. So I re-plied it. So basically I've got some big cones of kind of mohairy type, acrylic type stuff, and basically I just used that as a core, and then I spiraled the yarn around it. Oh, I forgot to say, I had spun it. I had originally spun the singles clockwise, and then I applied it anti-clockwise. So I put it back through the wheel anti-clockwise to put some more twist in it, and then when I applied it over the top of the mohair, I applied it clockwise. So this poor thing doesn't know where it's going. It's going back and forward. So there's some patches of quite dull stuff which is kind of what I want in weaving, because I want this dull stuff to sit in the whole row of weaving, and then I want this to either just poke out through 2 warp threads or to actually come in front of a couple of warp threads. So I do want some more tedious stuff as well, and this is nice. I like that as well. And so I just tried loads of different methods, but pushing it up, bunching it up after I wound it round, just kind of basically spiral plying some bits. Anyway, it's fairly balanced, which again isn't a big issue in weaving, and I'm quite happy with that. I picked up a single, and I was going to, I think I'd made it from a Rolag I'd made, and I was going to just weave with the single, and I thought actually it's quite nice colours. I think it'd be a bit of a waste just to weave with it as a single. So I did the same again, except I think looking at it, this is my undyed sock yarn that I have spiraled it over. So again, there's some kind of basic spiral ply stuff, and then there's some lumps and bumps, some really, yeah, that's very slidey. But actually, watching a video the other day, that's quite useful in weaving, because I can get that to be where I want it to be. Some more. So what I've been trying to work on here is actually sort of solidifying, bolting the thing into place by wrapping the core yarn over. So lots of little lumps and bumps again, some bits better than others, but overall, again, I'm quite happy with that. And finally there's this, which is my hummingbird bat from Spin City, which I'm so in love with and I'm so obsessed with. I haven't been able to work with, but finally I did, and here we go. So it's kind of core spun over something or other, and then plied with the black mohair again. Now I haven't set this because I just don't think it's robust enough. When I've set yarn like this before, that's got these lumps and bumps in it, it's just kind of killed it a little bit. So when I weave this, I have to be aware that this is going to be into something that isn't going to be washed, and that's something I've been going through recently, trying to work out what exactly I can do with my weaving, because I wanted to make clothes with it, but stuff like this would be too working a scarf that you're going to wear occasionally and whatever, but if you need to wash it regularly, it's not going to work very well. So I've got that pretty much sorted. I think I'm going to let me take you into the other room, so I'll give you a quick shot of my setup. I'll just turn the camera around. You might recognise if you've watched the podcast, this is my Memories blanket, and that's a corner to corner blanket that I have made quite a long time ago. So here's the Ashford, and it's just sat here ready, and I can play with it any time I want. My Lazy Kate and my obvious ubiquitous oil. And then over here is my stash for weaving. So, sorry for spinning. So there's all my fibre in there, and then at the bottom there's all that acrylic fibre and my undyed. So those 2 boxes, let's give a bit of, that's my hand on it. That gives you the sizing. And then that's my weaving stash. So that's my yarns, blues, pinks, blue, green and purple in the top, pinks and reds and yellows in the middle, and then rainbow plus neutral in the bottom. And then over here we've got my Majacraft, and that's all set up there. And I've got my Swift, and here are the locks that I've dyed, ready to go back when I can meet up with Andrea. They're to go back there. So that's my spinning setup, and what I've been up to. I'm going to record another video about weaving probably soon, and yeah, I hope you're enjoying your crafting, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye. So this is me Navajo plying Jacob on my Majacraft.